All right, there we go, people. You should be able to hear us. Once again, I'm Corey Coleman. Welcome to another Double Toasted interview. You couldn't hear us before, and I'll tell you what happened with that in a little while. and I am so sorry. This is very embarrassing, but this is very appropriate for the guest that we are talking to today. I am fortunate enough to be talking to an animator whose stuff I've been seeing for a while. And as I was saying earlier, you have probably had some of the reactions as I've had to the stuff that he's done. And I am talking to animator and creator of the Meatcanyon YouTube channel, Hunter Hancock. How you doing, Hunter?
I'm doing very well. Thank you, man.
I am so sorry about what happened. And Hunter, this is very appropriate for the way we're starting out today. You just got married, right?
I did. I am freshly married.
Okay, so what happened with today? It should be sort of a warning in a way. Your wife is going to probably come in one day and mess with your stuff. My wife has just started streaming on Twitch, and she's using my stuff in here, and sometimes she'll sneak in here and won't tell me what the hell she's doing. So all my settings are thrown off, and that is why we couldn't hear anything today. But thank you so much for your patience, man. I appreciate that.
Oh, it's no problem at all. Yeah, I'm so happy to be here. I appreciate it, man.
Yeah, I've been looking at some of your, I just showed a picture right here, man. Beautiful bride you got there.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah,
very much. I've been looking at that, and I've been looking at these crazy ass Instagram proposal pictures that you've been doing.
Yeah, but J.C. Penney.
Was that actually done?
Gotta leave the watermark in there for sure.
So that meant that you got the photo for free because they left the watermark in there, right?
Yeah, that was the free picture, but we ended up getting some physical copies, luckily.
So were those actually done at J.C. Penney then?
Oh yeah, J.C. Penney. It was a great hour-long photo shoot. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, those are great, man. I wish I would love to do stuff like that. My wife does not have this kind of sense of humor. She would never do something like that. So that's cool that you were able to get your wife, or at the time fiance, to do stuff like that. But let's get into your background here, man, and what you do. So people, for those who have not seen Hunter Hancock's stuff, do you want to, I could tell people about what you do, but since we have you here, I'd rather people hear it from you. You want to describe your YouTube channel to everybody out there?
Yeah, I mean, I think I make funny animations for YouTube and stuff. I try to draw on nostalgia and other parts of people's childhoods and distort them in ways for various emotional responses, whether it be horror or like depression or something. I don't know. Something along those lines.
I've been introduced to several of your videos. People have just sent me those things. I can see why they go viral and they rack up the views that they do, because people have, I've gotten so many videos of people saying, man, have you seen this? What the hell is this? Like I created it or something. But one of the first things that I saw that I quickly admired for your dark sense of humor, and I'm not, and a lot of people will, they'll say things to be nice and whatnot. I can tell you, I was genuinely fascinated by the first video that I saw of yours, which was When You Wish Upon a Star. It was
right on.
Sort of a Pinocchio parody that you did here. And, like I said, usually when you watch these things, it's usually followed by, what the fuck is this? And that's the first time I've ever heard like that used in a good way, where people were, they looked at it and they were horrified, but they just couldn't stop watching at the same time.
Do I look like a real boy, Papa? You will one day, my little wooden boy.
Take away this puppet boy's life. He's evil.
I laughed my ass off when I first saw that, man. And one of the things I was fascinated about that is, you do a lot of videos where they're parodies of popular shows and popular movies, usually directed towards kids, and then you do the spin that you have on it. Where did I'm going to ask the obvious question right now. So, where are these ideas coming from, and more particularly, where are the ideas coming from to combine your dark sense of humor with what are usually children's properties?
I mean, I chose children properties because I feel like we're conditioned now to want reboots and remakes and all sorts of stuff, and I think that people like to point at things that that they have a preconceived notion of and be like, oh, I know what that is, and be able to being able to switch or flip the switch on that is usually generally pretty easy. In terms of like subject matter, I think it just comes from any kind of mental struggle you might have, where it's depression, anxiety, existential dread, or something like that. I think it all kind of falls into play, and I think it's also just like maybe literature that I'm reading or anything that's going on of like a love for Edgar Allan Poe or H.P. Lovecraft or something. I think it all kind of correlates together and can be maybe pointed at that's the cause, but I think it's maybe a variable things.
So do you go through depression? Do you have clinical depression and anxiety? Have you been treated for that before?
I don't know if I've never been to the doctor for nothing, but yeah, I would say that I'm a really anxious person. I feel depressed a lot. I deal with those things to an extent. I wouldn't say that definitely not doctor prescribed or whatever, but yeah, I would definitely say that like a lot of the ideas that I come from stem from those kinds of mental states that you might be in.
Yeah, so I look at these, and is this an outlet for that then? Is this almost like I don't want to sound like a therapist or a doctor or anything, because I'm not, but are these sort of ways of coping with those feelings, making these videos here?
Yeah, sure. I think that anything creative or anything that you do is always an outlet for those things. I think that like even if you're going through something and you do these shows, I'm sure it's a creative way to express yourself and feel, to get out of that mindset. But I think that especially for my stuff, I feel like it can be an extreme filter. Like I just made a cartoon recently called Breakfast on a Wednesday, and it's just about the struggle of weight loss and stuff. And that's just something I've been dealing with. And I think that you can put those bad thoughts into a good use, or that kind of mindset into a more productive use, or at least, try to maintain those things, because there certainly isn't a cure, but you can at least, treat yourself right in those regards.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about this later, and I didn't, and of course this is very personal right here, but as you've just said, you've struggled with weight. Is this something that, and I read that it was something that you kind of done most of your life, that you've struggled with weight. Is that something that kind of led you? Because I know coming up, everybody has their reasons for getting into what they do. I know being socially awkward myself is what led me to, because I have I worked in animation too, and drawing and whatnot, and also being sort of socially anxious and awkward had, led me to drawing and wanting to do better at it. It's one of the few things that I thought I was good at. Is that sort of the same or similar situation with you? You just kind of went into drawing and animation because of your weight loss and maybe being socially awkward too?
No, not at all. No, I had an awesome. I feel like I had an awesome like childhood and high school experience. I'm a very social person. I just like the little weird things. I got into animation just because I liked the way that it brought people together. Like I think that in like 7th grade, I really noticed that like it didn't matter who, can I cuss on this? I have very loose lips. Yeah. Okay, well I was just gonna say it didn't matter who the fuck you were. It was like everybody was talking about the new episode of Family Guy or the new episode of South Park, and being able to like bring people together in that regards, especially from like an artistic standpoint. I was just like, that's just awesome. Like I love that. And I think that art has always just been something I gravitated towards, and it's just something that I feel like I've always been comfortable doing. But no, I would never say it comes from that. I just think until of recently, I think that as you grow up and shit, things and stories that you tell become less about maybe extravagant places that you want to go, but instead you want to convey personal stories that you're actually going through. And I think that it's like a healthy filter, and it becomes easier to tell because you're living it,
Yeah, you were talking about how you thought animation brought people together. That's a very interesting point, because you're talking about also things like South Park and Family Guy and whatnot. So, what and or who were some of the biggest influences on you as an animator?
Oh yeah, I think by far my biggest influence is Mike Judge. I think everything Mike Judge makes is amazing. King of the Hill is one of my favorite. I mean, obviously Matt Stone and Trey Parker, but I always just gravitated towards King of the Hill for some reason. And I think even like growing up, not even from a non-animation standpoint, I think even like reading like Todd McFarlane Spawn comics or like Mike Mignola Hellboy stuff. I think that like gravitating to that more horror aspect has always been kind of a natural transition. That's like something I've always been really passionate about. But like the being able to take real life characters such as like Hank Hill or any of that stuff, they all feel very real and they feel like they come from a personal place. Whereas like Cartman, he's hilarious, but it's hard to like really, you may know somebody who is like him, but nobody is ever like truly Cartman,
Yeah, we hope not.
Versus like, I know 7 people that are like Hank Hill or like 10 people that are like Dale Gray. You know what I mean? It's like, it feels way more real. Granted, I grew up in Kansas City, Missouri, so I feel like that's probably a little more skewed, but yeah, I found it to be very applicable to my own life.
So that leads me to an interesting question here, and I'm going to ask this alongside another thing I want to bring up. So, your videos are usually parodies, as I said, of children's properties, but more particularly, like you center on like really famous icons, and corporate images a lot. A lot of Disney and Looney Tune parodies and whatnot, and you make them anywhere from completely unsettling to grotesque and horrifying. And I got one video here. This is another one that somebody sent to us. Like, man, have you seen this shit? This is insane. And I'm sure you've heard a lot about this too, especially with sort of the small controversy that you've had with this. I'm sure a lot of people have seen your parody of Wabbit Season, which I'm going to show a little bit right here.
This little rabbit's hopping down the old bunny trail. I'm what you made me to be, Father.
This is, and it's actually started out very unsettling. It got a little more tame as it went along, but but I like the way you just went right in on that. When I look at these, sort of coming from what you're saying, I got 2 questions here around this. So one, I look at these parodies that you do, but you talk about how you love something like King of the Hill, because King of the Hill, these are real, relatable characters. Now, I love these animations that you do, but I hope nobody's relating to these. I hope no one knows anything or anyone like these characters that you've done. At some point, do you see yourself maybe? You'll probably still do the parodies, but do you see yourself maybe taking a step away from the parodies every now and then, and maybe doing something that is a little more character driven, or relatable, like King of the Hill?
I think so. I think that though the Bugs Bunny thing is an extreme example, I tried to make it everything as applicable as I can in terms of relatability. I think that cartoon, the whole premise is dealing with somebody you love who is doing something wrong. Like, that's the whole premise. It's about his father, struggling to understand why his son does the things he does, versus that could be applicable to, maybe you know somebody who's addicted to drugs, alcohol, or something like that. I think it's just because it's an animation, though, you can really push the limits of what these things are and get some kind of humor or comedy out of it. But in terms of parody, yeah, I mean, definitely, I want to do more and more. I think it's just more for a business reason, or for more for a growth, that you still have those parodies in there, because I just think it's like it brings traffic to your channel a lot easier. But I think definitely, I mean, I'm trying to work on my own IP as much as I can. As much as I can, and I'm hoping that with the show I'm working on right now, that it tells relatable stories, and that the premise is relatable in a weird way, because that's just the stuff I like to tell.
Yeah, no, I get it, man. Also, and thank you for that. And I never thought to look at it that way. Like, maybe this is there's something in here that's relatable. Like, somebody who's flawed like this. The other thing is, so these things that you parody, I mean, they can be looked at different ways by different people. You could be, maybe they're corporate figures that you're satirizing because maybe you have some contempt for them, or maybe you're doing it because you really love them and you're just putting your own spin on it. I mean, do you like these characters, or is there like some just sort of disdain for the corporate nature behind them?
Yeah, I think that everything that I make, it comes out of a love for it. I mean, like, I think that, you know, I think it would be wrong to just make or spend time on an animation that already takes so much time to make something that you just hate and you're like just trying to drag it through the dirt. I don't think that's productive. I think that a lot of these ideas and inspirations come out of like natural loves or natural, you know, respect you have for something. It's hard to see Bugs Bunny being a struggling rapist. You know, it's like it's never an easy pill to swallow. But you know, it's not an easy pill to swallow because it's, you know, it's Bugs Bunny. It's the childhood icon type deal. So I definitely think that everything I make, to an extent, I really love and admire, and I've, you know, have had an obsession with at some time or one another.
You know, looking at these also, are you a fan of horror? I don't want to be presumptuous here. Well, you know, look, because I see these, what you do here, and, you know, all of these seem to have a common theme where, you know, they definitely have a influence from horror. From horror, it seems like, you know, the surreal serial killers, maybe. Also, to me, I see a lot of body horror in this. Are there any horror movies or horror films out there that have had any kind of influence on your animation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think every horror film I've seen, but I would say like within the last couple of years, I think that even seeing like some of the art house horror stuff of like, just new ways of people redoing horror that isn't just, you know, jump scares and all that kind of other little bullshit. I think it's like, you know, whether it be like Hereditary or things that like A24 puts out where it's more meticulous, it takes more time. Maybe there isn't a huge climactic ending, but it was more so the experience that was horrific or kind of unsettling, and that's kind of like the point of it. And I think that definitely some of the new age horror films have been really inspirational. I don't think that necessarily I've been so drawn to like, you know, Friday the 13th or like Nightmare on Elm Street or stuff, even though I do have like a love for those as like just campy, fun movies to watch. I think that like whenever you watch a movie that's like really unsettling, but isn't just like, you know, it isn't looking to just like make you jump out of your seat. It's like meant to just like slowly drive a screw into your head. Like that's the kind of more of where I whenever I leave the theater, I'm just like, holy shit, that was awesome. Like, that was just like that was a great experience. So,
you know, we just took a look at your YouTube page over here, and congratulations on the success of that, man. You got
thank you.
You know, you got 1.83 million subscriptions or subscribers to be specific right here. And we just finished talking about your, you know, your short Wabbit season here. And there was a thing going on with this where Warner Brothers came in and they said that, you know, this is not so much parody and that, you know, this is straight on taking our IP. And so therefore we own the rights. And do I have this right? They came in and you had to take it. Did you have to take this down?
They legally claimed it. Yeah, they said that it was from. They said that I uploaded a clip or I uploaded an episode. So it isn't necessarily that I even took from them because it's fair use. They said that I took an episode and uploaded it to my channel.
Yeah, you know, with you having so many subscribers and then now you're doing these parodies and these satires. And you know, a lot of people are saying now that since, you know, the popularity of their channel has grown, they've been seeing this a lot where there's been a lot of copyright claims coming in. Are you experiencing this more with some of the other things that you're doing?
You know, really not too much. The Warner Brother thing was definitely the biggest one. The one, you know, I've had it happen before, but you know, the Warner Brother thing was just at such a horrible time. It was like right at the beginning of when COVID was like at its peak and like everybody was taking time off, and it was right when you know, YouTube even said like, hey, we're not going to have a ton of people working. It's going to be a lot of like the bots doing stuff. So I think it just like got circulated really quick. I appealed it. I should have brought in a lawyer, but I didn't. I wasn't smart enough at the time to think about that. And yeah, they sided with them, so it sucked. You know, and I've had a couple other cases, but usually once you appeal it, usually somebody will look at it and be like, no, you get like, this has nothing to do with the, you know, this is not your property type deals, and you can keep it or whatever. But But usually, I would say the worst thing is like music. Even if you like, I did that Justin Bieber, James Corden video with Ellen DeGeneres, and we did a beat that was similar to it, but we didn't use the actual song. But the record company still claimed it. So I thought that was kind of weird.
Yeah, you even I guess you felt some kind of way because you even did a parody video parodying the takedown of the Bugs Bunny video. I have a little bit of it right here.
Warner Brothers brought down the force of God on our poor little rabbit. He was just a little rabbit. Though the day of reckoning has been brought upon us, I feel our little bunny has been taken someplace new. Someplace where he can finally see perfection. I want the blood of those who have taken so much from us.
You have a lot of characters in there. So is that still up? Did Warner Brothers come in and do anything, or any other company come in and do anything with this?
What's that funeral one?
Yeah.
No, that one's good. It's yeah, it was just a response to it. I mean, I didn't even show. I think at the end of it, I don't even show the bunny. I think I just put property of Warner Brothers at the end of it in the casket. So it's like, yeah. So I didn't even show the bunny because I was afraid at that time that even if I showed the design I did, that it would get flagged. Because I had streamed previously on it, and on my Be Right Back screen, I have a, I have like a, I loop my animations, and my Wabbit season played for like 2 seconds, and my video got taken down.
Wow.
So it was like, wow, I can't even on a live stream type deal. It was annoying.
Really, on a live stream? Were you on Twitch when you did it?
No, on YouTube, yeah.
On YouTube.
Which I mean, it makes sense, but I was like, to detect it that quickly, I was like, good Lord.
Yeah. We put up videos. We don't even like put them live now. We let them stay up there for about an hour to see if they'll be taken down.
Right.
I imagine that YouTube is your main source of income for this, right?
Yep.
So
It is a job.
Yeah. Is there any frustration? I mean, now you've heard a lot about YouTube and their appeal to advertisers, and a lot of people. They even had a bug lately that took a lot of people's income down.
Right.
Where they said, yeah, you probably heard about this, where they were saying that it was something where it was a bug that put a false view count in there, and therefore the ad money was not legit. Have you been seeing any kind of frustration or kind of worry with YouTube, since that is your main source of income?
I mean, I personally didn't get affected by the bug at all. One of my buddies' channels did. I think that it's just, it's hard to be mad at it. It's easy to point at YouTube and be like, you guys fucking suck or whatever. It's really easy. But it's like, there's like, I forgot even the statistic of like, there's like some crazy amount of video storage or whatever that's uploaded every minute to YouTube or whatever. Yeah. I think that with everything, like, people get mad that the adpocalypse happened or whatever happens, and it's just kind of like it's an ebb and flow. You kind of have to adapt. If you can't adapt, or you're not willing to adapt, then you're going to fade out with it or whatever. I think that it's just, if it's your job, I mean, you just have to ride the tides. If I find that they're really cracking down on parody, or like if they're cracking down on adult stuff again, because I'm very blessed and I don't like hardly any of my stuff ever gets demonetized, which it does, but like I would say probably like 90% isn't. I would just see how I can adapt to the changes and stuff, because I really enjoy what I do. And instead of just like, it's kind of like the deal with the Wabbit season funeral thing. Mm-hmm. I could have made a video bitching about YouTube, like being like, you need to fix your copyright system. But at the same time, it's just like, what's done is done. It fucking happened. I'm moving on. This is the stupid thing. If they want to claim a rapist Bugs Bunny and say that it's like a part of their property, take them. I mean, you can have them type deal. Like, it's whatever. And I got other stuff I can make, and I know I can make more and stuff. So it's like, it's just, I think it's just all about adapting,
Yeah. I mean, you're right about that. YouTube is something that is, they don't even know half of what's going on themselves with some of these things. So a lot of people just have to go with it. That's one, that's one of the few positive attitudes approach that I've seen with this. Speaking of what you do, you've come a long way since your first video, which I believe you recorded the audio on an iPhone for, and it was recording on an iPhone.
Yep.
And I don't, was it just, we'll take a look at it, because I think it was just you animating on it at the time too, right?
Yeah.
and this is I think Barbarian Raid. Is that the name of it?
Yep.
Yeah, I got this raid. Let's take a look. We've seen some of the previous animations that Hunter Hancock has done. Let's go ahead and take a look at the first animation that he has done.
All right. So now, at sundown, we'll have to strike upon the Trakens.
Got bumps and there's
You gotta get that shit checked out.
You know, looking at this, I can definitely see the changes in style as anybody who has done something like this for a while. Now, when was that made? How many years ago?
God, 2013, 7 years ago.
7 years ago. Okay, so how do you think your style has changed? I mean, even though we can look at it, just to hear from you, how do you think your style has changed, both in the art style and with the humor that we see here? How do you think that has progressed?
In terms of the style, I think that I just got way more comfortable with even how I draw things and stuff. And I think that, even human anatomy, how you practice and draw 7 years ago, I was very comfortable with drawing, but I just wasn't, a super talented artist. It still had fun doing it, but I'm way more competent now, I believe, and just even in color theory and stuff. And in terms of like even humor or the storytelling, you do something enough and you will just become more like just naturally more comfortable with it, or like understanding story structure and everything. I do look at those times though, and I look at that video still, and I think it's just like the freedom of just being like, I remember I texted my friends and I was like, hey, I want to do this video about a barbarian who has like disease-ridden cock. Do you guys want to come over and record with me? And they're like, yeah. And it was like that kind of freedom that I feel like I've maybe lost a little bit just due to overthinking, or like you're smarter now, you're not willing to take all these, and I take certain risks, but back then it was just like, yeah, I'm just going to make it because it's stupid. And this is like just funny. This is just what I want to make. And there's something really endearing still about that. I look back on that tune with actually very, very fondly. I love that.
Yeah, what do you think? Where do you think that pressure is coming from? I mean, is it now that you're making more money with it? Is your livelihood? Do you have this more professionalism that you're thinking about that you have to kind of keep up?
I don't even. I think it's just more. I mean, in terms of money and stuff, I don't really think it's that. I mean, I don't need to be making millions of dollars or something. I think it's more so just like an artist integrity of like you want to feel like what you're spending your time on, or that like especially as an audience grows, it is. I think a lot of people are like, oh well, it got more professional, but I think it's more so that you want to keep evolving. Like even with the stuff that I have now, it's only been a year, and I feel like I've continuously tried to try new things or go out of my comfort zone just to keep that fresh and not feel content of just being like, yep, I know what people like. Because I feel like shit will get stale. So I think that as you get older, you do get smarter, just because you're just like, well, I mean, and plus in 2013, I was probably dying laughing, like recording that and being like, oh my God, it's so funny. Looking back on it now, I'm like, yeah, it's funny because I know that's me and my friends, but if I tried thinking of that idea now, I would be like, I mean, it's okay. It's okay. It's nothing to write home about. But then it's also just so much more possibility. Like back then, would I ever feel like, oh, I'm going to make a Willy Wonka tune where it's 2D and 3D blended together, and it's like a Jeffrey Epstein cartoon or whatever. I don't feel like I could have really thought of that or felt like I had the capabilities to do that. So I think it's just more so of being like, the box is much bigger than it used to be.
I want to go to your channel, speaking of which, and since you talk about your change in style, I would love to find one of the animations that you've done where you have combined 2D and 3D. And this is a golden ticket right here. This is the Willy Wonka one that you're talking about. I'm going to go in and is it okay if I show people some of this?
Yeah, absolutely. Go ahead, man.
Let me go ahead and I'll start from the beginning here. This is 5 minutes, so we're not going to, of course, show the whole thing.
Well, what flavor do you think it is?
I don't know.
Charlie, I'm just messing with you. There's no flavor on the wall. You like that rust pretty good, though.
I've seen this one, and I love this one too, man. now that things have gotten more advanced, you know, you're combining different art styles and different mediums. You have 2D and 3D combined together. Do you have a team of animators that you're working with now?
Yeah, I have a pretty small team of people and artists and stuff that are freelance or buddies and stuff that I get to work with. Definitely, yeah.
How big is your crew now, for the people that you're working with?
I think we're up to 5 people. I think 5 people in total. Yeah.
Do you ever see yourself?
Yeah.
Oh, so go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just saying, just for the parody stuff, and then Monster Lab, we're at like 15 for the Monster Lab thing.
Okay. Well, since you brought up Monster Lab, let's go ahead and bring that up right now. This is a Kickstarter that you're doing, and I don't know if it's done. I see you've already exceeded your goal here. This is your Kickstarter for a series called Monster Lab right here. Your goal was $100,000, and you managed to so far get $156,535. $3,500 right here, man. Is this done? This Kickstarter?
Yeah.
Nice. Yep. Nice.
Yes, it is.
Did all of the money come through? All of the $156,000?
No, it's Kickstarter has to take a certain percentage. I think it's like 7%, and then also you have to take that money and use it to pay for any kind of like physical stuff. So I think all in all, it was like ended up being 110 or something after everything was said and done. Still
over what you were wanting to
get.
Yeah.
No, I mean, yeah, definitely. I'm very happy with how it turned out. 100%.
So let's take a look at Monster Lab. As I said, this is a series that you want to do.
Yep.
And this is from the Kickstarter video.
Plants, but here, get in here, guys. Come here. I'm not gonna beg, okay? But please, fucking help us.
So being that that's going to be a series, is that something that you want to keep independent, or is that something that you want a network to pick up?
Oh, I just want it to be on YouTube. Yeah, I don't want it to be on a network. Networks are, the only security you get from networks is money, but then it's everything that you make will become a watered down version of what you wanted. Not to say that that's a bad thing, because sometimes networks are really great, but I just want it to be like, I just want to make something. I don't want to have to wait years to make it or whatever. I'm just really excited to make it. And the team here in 2 weeks, the first episode 1 will be done. And then we're already starting episode 2 right now. Like, I just think I just want to prove that it's like, you don't have to have a network to make a animated series or something. Granted, I did my Kickstarter and stuff, but I think it just proves that there's an audience for it online, and that I'm just excited to put out a full season that people can go back on for free. And I'll put it up on Newgrounds, or I'll put it up wherever, any fucking Pornhub. I'll put it anywhere online type deal, just to let it get out there,
Yeah, no, I'm glad that you kind of have that spirit, man. I think that's. I wonder, I don't know. How do you feel about this, man? Because I've always had this thing that you have this wonderful, a lot of these platforms and this freedom that you have now, thanks to the internet. And besides just money, I always wondered, what is the allure of going to a network, whereas you say it could slow things down. Everybody has to have an opinion and a word on how this is getting done. I've always thought, that, if you can do it independently, keep doing it. Do you kind of think the same way?
Yeah, I think that, and of course there's variables, right? Like, not everybody's an animator, but they want to make an animated show, or they have a great idea. So it's like, and they don't know any but animator friends. So sometimes it's like the networks can provide all of these great insight and all these helpful teams. It's just the benefit of, if you're just like, hey, I know how to animate, I have animator buddies and stuff, and you feel like you could do it on your own, it's just like, go for it. I think that, and the fact of the matter too is that it's hard to, pitch original IP and have it be, received by people randomly. Yeah. So I think that a big process was using the parodies and building a channel to kind of like, prove that I can output things, and that hopefully you can trust my sense of humor and stuff to, when I start this Kickstarter, that, or when I started the Kickstarter, that, you could be behind an original idea. And I'm hoping that it's just people can get invested into the stories and characters that I'm telling, and that it'll just be something fun that just exists on the internet, free for people.
Yeah, man. I've always admired people who kind of had that independent attitude about things. Have you ever been approached by a network before, or some producer that wanted to take your stuff and make something?
Yeah, I don't know how much I can say, but yes, I have. I have several. I have, I think, 3 times in total.
And have you turned all those down?
Yep. Yep.
Nice, man. So you like staying independent then. You do some of the voices on these characters, right?
I would say probably 90% of them.
90% of them. So is there, no, you're obviously a very talented guy. You do the animation, you do the voice work. Being that you do the voice work, do you like the acting when you do the voice work?
Oh, I love it. Yeah. I mean, I love it. And I 100% would bring in way more talented people because I appreciate you saying that. My range isn't very big, but I do enjoy it. It's just mostly the only person you have to rely on is yourself when you do it yourself, you know? So if you have a guy and you're like, oh, I really want this guy to be in it, but then he takes 2 weeks to get back to you. Well, now your whole production schedule's fucked and now you have to like figure out what you're going to do. So, yeah, I enjoy the acting of it, but I would say it's mostly because it just keeps me on schedule type deal.
Well, I mean, have you ever wanted to do some real life acting? Being that you've done all the, doing a lot of the voice work. I mean, you can do a lot of different things. You do have range. So is that something you ever thought about doing? Maybe live acting?
Oh, I mean, I would love to. Yeah, I would do live acting for anybody, a director who wanted me or something like that, or even voice acting or something like that. I think that maybe even in the future, depending on where the horror thing goes and how I'm feeling and inspired, or if I find some kind of influx of cash or resources, that I'd love to make like a horror film, like a live action thing. I think it'd be really fun. I think that'd be something that would be really cool to try.
Well, okay, it's also going to be my next question, which I think you just answered. So you would like to, at some point, do live action, whether it be a movie or whatever. Yeah,
I think that I probably wouldn't do sketches necessarily. I think that I would try to probably just do like a film. Like if I did anything live action, I would probably just try to stick to like either a short film or like a actual theatrical film or something, and see if you can't make an hour and a half on a budget or something like that. Like a little run and gun team.
Yeah. You have any ideas for a horror movie right now?
I've always wanted to make a horror film where the metaphor is a man having a heart attack. Once again, it's just it's the association of being overweight and stuff and that kind of experience, or like chest pains and all that kind of jazz. And I think that kind of uncomfortable feeling, or even through an anxiety attack, if you can capture how to put that into a story somehow, I think that it could be really unsettling and really fun. I think that it could be a really fun take on it. That isn't just like, it's a talking doll that's possessed and it's like we need to fucking cleanse the house or something like that. It's I think it would be really cool to do something along those lines.
Got some people in our chat saying, damn, this man is it's amazing how multi-talented this guy is. Do you mind if I ask the chat if they have any questions for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to see any questions or answer anything I can.
Yeah, now, I know there's a little bit of a slight delay here, a little bit of a lag, but if anybody has any questions for Hunter over here, this is one of the few times I've actually had time to come in and take questions from the chat. So if anybody has anything that you'd like to ask right now, please do so. And I'll wait for those questions to come in because of the slight delay that we have over here. But for the series that you have coming up, Monster Lab, so when is that going to premiere? Do you have a date for that?
Yeah, episode 1 is January 3rd. I have all of the episodes have release dates. I will stick to those schedules, and you'll be able to know when they're coming out. But January 3rd, and then it's basically the first Sunday of bi-monthly. So January, then 2 months ahead type deal, and then in December we'll be releasing the last 2 episodes in December.
We have former Afrojack in the chat. He says, has Hunter been asked by anybody else to do any voice work?
Yeah, I work with Flashgits a lot. We have a podcast now too together called Cream Crew, but I've done several voices for them, and I get asked a lot by SoundCloud rappers to do backing tracks or something like that for songs or people's short horror films and stuff. And it really just comes down to like, I really only can find the time to do stuff for like close friends and people that and everything, because I would love to do all of them, but it's just it becomes too much type deal. Like and then I feel bad because I'm like, oh, well, I did it for him. Fuck, I guess I have to do it for these other people or something. So so I just have to, yeah.
So what are the rappers asking for when they ask you to do voices?
Oh, they always ask for the Ed, Edd n Eddy video is like oddly popular in the underground like rap scene and stuff. So they always ask for like me to say like a line in that voice or something, like if I go down like this and I could say a backing line or something like that for a deal. So
someone wants to know, this is a good question, good simple question right here. Let me see if I can find the person. Rocket Man 7777 wants to know, what is the favorite video of yours that you've done?
It's very hard. It's a very hard one. I mean, I feel like, I don't know how much content creation you do and stuff, but I feel like every time you upload something, you get horribly depressed, or at least I do. I'm always like, oh, it should have been better or something.
Yeah.
And I think I have a level of hate and love for all my videos, but I think just out of the experience, I really enjoy the Cat in the Hat video I did. That was one where I stepped away and I was just like, I just really genuinely love this video. And it was just great. That was like that's when I started like my friendship with Max Mofo. Mm-hmm. And that guy is just one of the most genuinely nice and hilarious people I've ever met. And it was just great. And that was like one of the first times too, where I was like, I'm going to branch out and really try something new with this style. And then we ended up using the kind of like glitchy bitmap textures inside of the cat's fur that was animated the whole time. And I just thought that I was just happy with how that came out. I was just really pleasantly surprised with how everything turned out.
Someone wants to know, and I don't know if this is too vague, and they already passed, so I'm sorry for not saying your name, but someone wants to know, how did you get your style so exaggerated?
I think that with any kind of exaggeration, like in college, and I went to Kansas City Art Institute, and in college we had a lot of cartoon and character design classes and stuff. And I think that you just find that you like to draw. You just like to draw random stuff differently. Whether it's like I don't know why, I just love drawing really tiny teeth and showing gum. Or I love drawing people's gums, and I like the way that I draw people's mouths or whatever. Define cheekbones, and I think that it stems from even like Todd McFarlane stuff of like the way he like uses like skin folds and all that kind of stuff, and all just like really funny, grotesque things. And I think another way to help exaggerate your style too is, depending on how you want to go. Like my whole deal was, how can you take a certain aspect of somebody of like, okay, like if somebody's eyes are really protruding, or like if they have if the character design initially has big eyes, of being like, how does that affect the skin on their face? Of like, if it's that big, does it make their skin sag? Is it really tight on their face? And it's like asking yourself those questions and like, pulling around even. Like that was the thing my teacher taught me that I still find is helpful, of like pulling your skin or doing stuff with your hands. It can kind of like, if you feel it, sometimes it's easier to like put it down on paper because you're like, okay, it kind of feels like it's being tugged back this way or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's just been a collection of shit, of just like, looking at R. Crumb sketchbooks that I have, and, Todd McFarlane stuff and all sorts of stuff. Yeah. Did
you go to art school? Someone wants to know. That's Crispy Computer Fish.
Yeah, I went to Kansas City Art Institute. It's a school in just Kansas City, like a private art school type deal in Kansas City.
And you talked about making a movie at one time. And this is Duskin Jakenji. Let me see. I'm sorry. No, it's Saul Goodman. Sorry about that. Saul Goodman wants to know, do you have any plans maybe to work in something like comics?
Yeah, I think that I would like to do comics if I feel like I had a story that would feel more applicable to that medium. You know what I mean? Like if I feel like, if I'm like, oh, like this story's fun, but I might as well just animate it. I think that like certain mediums, for me to like branch out in them, it would just require a story where maybe it's just the panels themselves are, give the timing, or like it's that silence of reading it can add to the story. I think that like it's just that kind of thought process interests me a lot. I think until then, though, I just do more stuff of like stills of like painting or, sketching in my notebook or something like that. I think that that kind of escapism is really fun. But in terms of telling a story, yeah, I'd have to see how, like, why the comic translation is more important versus just having it be animated and have it, have the drawings come to life.
Nice, man. Well, hey, look, I appreciate you. I know you're busy, man. You're working on a series right now. I want to thank you for being here and hanging out and answering all these questions for us.
Yeah, no problem at all. I really it was a fun conversation. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Well, it was fun to listen to. It really was. And I even, some people in here are saying, especially when you were talking about drawing exaggerated characters, that advice actually helped some people. Somebody saying that was very helpful for you to do that. So I actually appreciate everything, man. Thank you so much. And we'll definitely be looking at your stuff. Everybody, this is Hunter Hancock that has been talking with us today. Creator of the YouTube channel, very popular YouTube channel, 1.8 million subscribers on there. Also look for his series Monster Lab coming up, but the YouTube channel is Meatcanyon. And again, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. Take it easy.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
And thank you guys. I was getting a little weird at the end. I had this dog in my lap, and I told you she can sense when the end of something is coming. I guess she can sense when the end of an interview is about to happen too. So since she wants to go, I'm going to go ahead and get on my way. You should see how this, thank you. I see people in the chat right now. Chat, sorry, I couldn't show you on the screen. I stopped showing a lot of the chat because it just gets in the way of the interview when we plan on trying to put those up on YouTube later. We're going to have our own channel for that. But once again, thank you all for being here. Another great interview. And I say another great interview because of the person who gave us a great conversation. Like I said, I can do my part and come up and ask questions, but it's the answers that you get that really make these what they are. And I want to appreciate him and everybody that's come onto the show and shared their time with us and their wisdom and their experience. And I will see you guys later. Speaking of art, I'm going to be showing you guys some layouts for the animation that we're doing for our Patreon people. And we'll be doing that later tonight. Hope to see you there, at least at the time of this recording. But we got to go. I want you to see how this dog behaves when she hears this. She might perk up. Watch this. Anyway, people, you know what to do. Please, even when we're not streaming, we love to hear from you. So do not hesitate to email us. Pull up that keyboard and type in kcoolmans@gmail.com. That's KCOOLMANZ@gmail.com. Email us with any kind of questions, comments, compliments, insults, input, and our advice. Hit us up on the social medias, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And I would love to hang out with you here in Austin, Texas when you come through, but I want to do it when it ain't gonna kill either you or me. So please, when the time comes, when they got a vaccine and they stick it in Big Roni's ass and get her big ass out of here, we would love to hear from you. Until then though, just let us know your future plans for Austin. You can do so by emailing us. You know where, kcoolmans@gmail.com. Email us and let us know if you're moving here or simply passing through. We love to hang out with you. See if she'll react to this right here. All right, everybody, that is it. Good night, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Whenever you are listening to or watching this, goodbye and stay toasty. See, she's getting anxious. Look at her. You ready to go, girl? You ready to get out of here? All right. There she goes. She wants to go. All right, baby, we're done. Bye-bye.